Hi, my little babies. Welcome back to another episode of What the Smut Book Reviews. Book Reviews. Spooky season. We're in spooky season. Okay. Hi. I know spooky season started already, but we're like in it now. Okay. Thank you for joining me for another episode. I really appreciate it. I am your host, Candace. If you're new here, hi. How are you? I want to say don't be scared, but you should be scared. If you're not new here, thank you for joining me for another episode. What were you thinking? In today's video, we are going to be traveling back to Neverland because we're here to review this book. This cutesy little, it is slightly larger than the first one, but not by much. This is book 2 in Nikki St. Crowe's Vicious Lost Boys series. And these are dark romance novellas that are essentially retellings of the tale of Peter Pan. Okay. Now, book 1, I have already reviewed. It was called The Never King. This one is called The Dark One. Now, I don't, as a rule, do dark romance novellas. Because, okay, here's where she got me. And she got me thrice times she got me. Okay? Number 1, I don't read and review dark romance novellas as a rule. Number 2, I don't do cliffhangers. I hate cliffhangers. Okay? I want my fucking HGA. Number 3, what was number 3? Oh, number 3, I don't do reverse harems. They're just not my thing. I mean, I know a lot of people love them. I just can't. I just don't. It's not my thing. These novellas are reverse harem. Okay. Each one ends on a cliffhanger and bleeds into the next book. They are also dark romance novellas. So she got me not 1 time, not 2 times, 3 times. Thrice times she got me. How? I don't know. I said it in the first video, and I'll say it again. Because this book that Amazon says has 228 pages, but we know that's a lie. This book that is a novella is chock full of plot. It's fucking chock full of plot and a good bit of sex. A lot of sex. How did you do it? How did you do it? I said it in the first video and I'm going to say it again. She's a fucking witch. She's a witch. You're a witch. I see you. Okay, so let's do the deets of the book and then we're going to break it down very quickly because I can't spend an hour talking about 200 pages worth of book. I mean, I could, and I have, but I won't because no. All right. So this book and all the books in this series are free to read with Kindle Unlimited. If you want to purchase this book for your Kindle, you can do so for the price of $4.99. Now, do I think $4.99 is pricey for a novella? Kind of. Only because $4.99 seems to be the standard Kindle price of every other book that's going right now. And not to say that this book isn't worth $4.99 because it probably is. But in comparison to a book like, let's say, this one, that's also priced at $4.99 for the digital download. does a big difference. You know what I'm saying? So $2.99? Yeah. If you want to purchase this paperback, this trade that I'm holding in my hand right now, $12.99. Again, well, maybe it's okay. $12.99 is okay. You can also get this book in hardcover for $16.61. It's pretty decent. I know a lot of my bitches on Bookstagram only buy hardcovers. So like, I appreciate the fact that a lot of these indie authors are putting their books up on Amazon available in hardcover, even though it doesn't come with a dust jacket. And I want to reiterate that if you purchase your books from Amazon, hardcover editions, they don't come with dust jackets. The image of the cover will be printed on the hardcover book. Just printed right on the cover, okay? But I appreciate the fact that they're even putting them up as available in hardcover, because a lot of authors don't do that. They just do paperbacks, which is average. But I know a lot of my girls on Bookstagram, they like hardcover collections. They like their bookshelves to look pristine, you know what I mean? Like those hardcovers look really nice on a bookshelf. Better than trades, yeah. So I appreciate that. Now, according to this liar of a retailer, this book has 228 pages. I have 213 pages. So, anyways. So yeah. Let's read the blurb. We'll break it down very quickly. I spent most of my life feeling dead inside until I met Peter Pan and the Lost Boys. It wasn't until Pan and Neverland that I finally felt alive. But things are not all full of magic and sunlight on the island. There's something darker and more sinister haunting the forest. And worse, the Fey Queen and Captain Hook are ready to fight for control of Neverland, and they will stop at nothing to get what they want. War is brewing. Can the Never King get his shadow back and assume his rightful throne? And if he does, where will I fit? Or will all of Neverland be in jeopardy right along with my dark, twisted heart? There's an author note on the back of the book. It's fairly long, actually. The Dark One is book 2 in the Vicious Lost Boys series. It is a dark reimagining of Peter and Wendy. If you like your enemies to lovers romance with hot, ruthless, morally gray love interests, you'll enjoy The Dark One. You can expect an island with darkness and secrets and no true hero in sight, with a found family atmosphere and touch her and I'll unalive you vibes. The Dark One ends on a cliffhanger. Please check the author's website for trigger warnings. Or well, it says content or CW's content warnings. Okay. So again, I appreciate that she put that, because a lot of other authors don't put anything of the sort. So when we left off in The Never King, which is book 1, they had found the box that contained Peter's shadow. They had taken it back to Neverland and opened it. But instead of one shadow popping out, 2 popped out. So that's where the first book left off. Now, the second book picks up exactly where the first book left off. Instead of just Peter's shadow, which is the life shadow of Neverland, out pops the death shadow of Neverland as well. There's a scuffle. Both shadows escape. Peter and Vane go after one, obviously his shadow, and Bash and Cass go after the death shadow. The death shadow almost kills one of them, which Winnie essentially uses like the fey magic of belief to save his life. And essentially both shadows escape past Pan's territory and into the wilds of Neverland, into Hook's territory. Well, okay, let me rephrase. The death shadow escapes to parts unknown, and the life shadow, Pan's shadow, escapes into Hook's territory. Pan's fucked. Okay. Pan devises a plan. Here's what we're going to do. Obviously, after he goes on a drinking bender and wrecks everything in the house and he has his meltdown, right? Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to send Vane and Cherry. If you remember Cherry was the like hanger-oner girl in the first book. She was essentially living in the treehouse with the Lost Boys. She is in love with Vane. She wants Vane very badly. Vane won't give her the time of day. Vane has had sex with her, I think once. And even though he released his death shadow onto her and brutalized her pretty badly, she still wants him. She's not fazed. Now Pan plans to send her along with Vane as like emissaries to go talk to Hook, because Cherry happens to be Hook's sister, his little sister. It turns out that Hook bartered Cherry to them, to Peter and the Lost Boys, in exchange for another girl who happens to be named Smee. If you remember in the original Peter Pan, Hook's right-hand man, his right-hand pirate, was a pirate named Smee. In this retelling, Smee is a girl. She is like a super spy. She gets information for Hook. She's invaluable to him. Hook traded Cherry for Smee many, many years ago. Cherry has since been told by Pan that she can leave, but she does not want to leave because she's in love with Vane. Now, Hook does not know that. Hook thinks that she is still a prisoner of Pan and the boys. So Pan sends Vane and Cherry to go ask Hook if they can enter his territory to look for one of their boys, one of the Lost Boys, is missing. And they believe that he's in his territory. It's a lie. They want to look for the shadow. The shadow's on his territory. Hook sees through this very quickly. He doesn't say anything, but he says, you can come night after tomorrow, in 2 days' time. He can come onto the territory and look for this lost boy. And Vane says, okay. Hook wants Cherry back. He regrets what he did in giving her to Pan. She does not want to leave. What she doesn't know is that Pan has told Vane that as part of the negotiations, that he will give Cherry back to Hook. That sprung on her during the meeting. She's pissed. So they go back and they say, well, he says, well, I'll bring Cherry back in 2 days' time then. When we're able to enter the territory is when you'll get your sister. So Hook has to let her go. They go back to the treehouse. Now during this time, obviously, they're all having, sans Cherry, obviously, they're all having raucous sex. Like, it's a reverse harem. Of course they're having sex. Winnie is having sex with everybody. Now, everybody except for Vane. In the first book, it alluded to once or twice to her wanting Vane or being interested in Vane. In this book, that interest grows significantly. Vane will not give her the time of day either. Vane, in fact, appears to be significantly turned off by Winnie. He's like, get away from me type, like turned off. She basically tries to come up with the idea of, oh, I'm gonna pretend like I don't want him, which will make him want me type situation. She tries at first for like 5 seconds that she pretends that, and then she gives up and just goes back to following him around like a puppy. So I guess she feels like some kind of connection between the two of them in terms of like their loneliness and their isolation and the way she grew up with her mother being like unhinged and her always feeling outcasted. And Vane has clearly got issues of his own. He comes from an island unknown, which it turns out to be like literally like an island of death. And he's possessed by this death shadow. He talks about having a family that all were like, they all died. And he had like a little sister, and he goes into like this whole thing about his family. He opens up to her eventually. And eventually, she finds out a way to get him to have sex with her without him killing her. Because in the beginning of the book, she just thinks, oh, I can have sex with them. It's just going to be really rough sex because of his death shadow. No. His death shadow tries to legit murder her during sex. And she's like, oh, fuck, what have I gotten myself into? And the other boys have to pull him off of her. Now she's found out a way to get around that, which is through pain. So if she hurts herself during the act, the death shadow essentially feels her pain or her terror or whatever, and it's almost like feeding it. And so it doesn't feel the need to kill her. And it allows Vane himself to come to the forefront during the act of sex. Okay. So the first time that they have sex happens on like the beach by the lagoon. He chases her into the woods. They have sex in the woods. They get caught, not caught, but like spied upon by none other than Cherry. She sees them having sex. She has come down to the beach to find Vane because she found the death shadow trapped in her bedroom in the treehouse. When it escaped Bash and Cass, it got into her room, and with the windows and doors closed, it could not get out. So it's been in there ever since. And she has come down to the beach thinking, I will find Vane and tell him this. And he'll be so thankful to me that, you know, she's just trying to get brownie points for this guy. She's desperate. She'll do anything she can to get brownie points from this guy. And she comes down and she walks right in on a scene of him basically porking Winnie against a tree. And she's heartbroken. And so she runs away without telling him anything. They don't know she's there. So 2 nights later, they all go. They leave Winnie behind at the treehouse, and Pan and the Lost Boys go with Vane to Hook's territory to meet up with, to go look for the shadow. Okay. What they don't know is that while they've been fucking around for 2 days, Hook has known exactly what they're coming to his territory to do. And he has been putting all of his men out looking for the shadow. It's essentially get any man that gets me that shadow will be worth his weight in gold. Find me the shadow. So Pan has also had Vane contact his brother and ask him to come because he can feel a war brewing between him, Hook, and Tilly, Queen of the Fae, Cass and Bash's sister. If you remember in the first book, she betrayed them and fucked them over and tried to scramble Winnie's brains. So there's a war brewing for dominance of Neverland. And whoever gets that shadow first is going to have such immense power that they're going to be able to take over everything. So as a lifeline, Peter has told Vane, call your brother. I need you to do me a favor, call your brother. His brother is the crocodile. Croc, or in this case, Rock is what they call it, is not a beast, but a man. A very vicious man who did take Hook's hand and who Hook is terrified of. The clicking of the clock terrifies him. So that does stay true to the original movie or the original story. But the crocodile is a man, not a beast. And he is Vane's brother. So they go to look for, 2 nights later, they go to look for Pan's shadow in Hook's territory. And when they get there, they're met by Hook himself and Tilly, who Hook happens to have a chest that Pan knows his shadow is in. He can feel it. And all hell breaks loose. Pan uses a pocket watch that he brought with him as a diversion. And he lets the pocket watch tick, 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 go off. And it's enough of a distraction to Hook. It puts enough fear into him that it allows them to basically turn the tide. And Pan is able to get the shadow. And he does get his shadow back. Tilly flees, obviously, because she's a coward bitch. And she runs, leaving Hook behind. Hook is a puddle of nerves and fear on the floor, begging for his life, essentially. And Pan spares him. He lets him live. And they're like, let's just go. Let's get back home to our darling. What they don't know is that Winnie is back home in the treehouse alone with Cherry. Cherry, who is very angry about what she's done with Vane. And Cherry lures her to the bedroom with a fake story and then pushes her inside in the hopes that the Death Shadow will attack her and kill her. And after she doesn't hear any noise, she opens the door and Winnie is standing in the middle of the room, completely fine. But when she turns around, it's clear she's not Winnie anymore. And the Death Shadow has essentially bonded with her. And that's where the book ends. Okay. Now, let me get my gripes out of the way. Lindy, tune out. Because I'm getting ready to go in. And this is all stuff you've heard before and that you didn't want to hear again. So go ahead and turn off. You're probably not watching this anyway. It doesn't matter. So, okay, here we go. By this point of the book, I wanted Winnie to get eaten. I'm going to be honest. I'm aware that this is a reverse harem. Before you get started on me, I'm aware this is a reverse harem. I'm aware that Winnie is the main female character and that she's supposed to be getting all the D. I get it, okay? Stop. I get it. However, I don't understand the author's purpose of writing a side character like Cherry, making me feel bad for her, and in the first book, making it appear as if something may happen between her and Vane. Maybe there's the possibility that Winnie will be satisfied with just 3 dicks and there will be a side book with Cherry and Vane, and I'd be happy with that. That sounds fucking amazing. Can I get that? That's what I thought was going to happen. I'm going to be honest. That's what I wanted. However, now Vane is over here just fucking Winnie's brains out, and poor Cherry is just over here getting traded left, right, and center, and nobody's thinking about Cherry. And yes, I get it. Cherry's not the main character of the book. I get it. Shut the fuck up about it, okay? But you as the author make me feel bad for Cherry. She's pulling on my fucking heartstrings. You wrote it that way. Why do you do that? Why, Nikki? Why you do that? Okay? I don't understand the purpose of there being a character like Cherry if she's not going to get some kind of fucking redemption arc. What's the purpose of her being trodden on so much? And her connection to Vane, them having sex in the first book. What's the purpose of that if you're not going to get them together? I don't understand. Also, the ending scene where she's luring Winnie to the bedroom and she asks her, she goes, so you and Vane, huh? And Winnie is just like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Like, no. But at that point, I was like disingenuous. No, you're not sorry. You're not sorry. You're greedy is what you are. And I get that you're greedy because this is a reverse harem and you're the main female character, right? And you're entitled to be greedy, and that's fine, but you're greedy. You're fucking greedy. You needed four dicks instead of 3. Okay, let's call a spade a spade. You needed 4 dicks instead of 3. All right, you're greedy. So now poor Cherry is over here just dickless. So by that point of the book, I hated Winnie. And I wanted the Death Shadow to tear her to shreds. Will that stop me from reading the next book? No. I'm still going to read it. Am I still interested in all the Lost Boys? Pan, Hook, Rock, all of them? Yes. Absolutely. Do I still think Vane is hot as fuck? Yes. Absolutely. So now it's just Winnie I don't like. Also, like every time, like I got to the point where every time they said our darling, I got like a twitch in my eye. The darling, our darling. I was like, stop. Oh God, I'm just fucking with you, Nikki. I mean everything that I say, but I'm just messing with you. I meant everything that I said, but I'm still gonna read the books. Anyways, after that not so good-natured ribbing, would I recommend these books to other people? Fuck yes. She has managed to write such in-depth, detailed storylines and plots that it just, she's reworked the fairy tale in such a way that I never would have expected. And it pulls you in. Honestly, it does. It pulls you in. And the sex is also very good. The sex is good. But it's not even the sex. It's the story. Like, you want to know what's going to happen next. Like, you want to know. I gotta know. But I'm a plot person. If there's not enough plot, I like sex. I like spice. But if there's not enough plot, get it out of my face. And that's mainly why I don't read dark romance novellas, because almost with almost all dark romance novellas, they're predominantly all sex. It's just all sex and violence. There's no plot. These books have plot. A lot of plot. They're so good. They're so good. And they're so well written. She's a good writer. She's a fantastic writer. So yes, I would highly recommend these books to other people. This series is fantastic. So yeah, I think that's it for the rating for the book. For this one, I would give it a solid 9. Yeah. I think that's it. If you enjoyed this video, if you like me and you like my channel, you like seeing me rage, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. If you would like, you can follow me on social media. I will link them all in the description box below, and I'll put a little banner here on the screen for you guys to see. I really appreciate you sticking with me for another video, and I love you so much. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye. Buongiorno, my babies. Welcome to Thunder Bay, bitch. Okay. Let's make sure I don't have any food in my teeth, because I just ate a pickle. No pun intended. Okay. Let's go. Let's get it. Because this one's going to be quick because it's a novella. And I'm going to give you the bare bones, okay? Because we don't need to go into a whole bunch of detail. By the end of it, I'm going to be raging anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay, here we go. This is book 2 in Nikki St. Crowe's Fuck If I Know series. What series is this anyway? Oh, it's the Vicious Lost Boys series. That was terrible. Candace, you're terrible with this. And closes the door in the hopes that the death shadow do I still think Vane is hot as fuck? Yes. Absolutely. Freckles, can you fuck off? Never smile at a crocodile. I was wondering what those marks were on the side of the book. It's the start of each chapter has like a little thing here. That's really beautiful. Okay. Love you guys so much. So parched like a fucking cat. I literally did not write down anything for any of the characters in this book. Look at that. I wrote down their names and that's it. I didn't write down any characteristics at all. Because I was just like, meh. I pretty much know them already from the first book, so meh. One twin has long hair, one has short. The voices of the audio are so soothing to listen to. Like, the guy who narrates for Cass and Bash, oh my God, his voice is so soothing. He has like a slight, I want to say like a slight lisp, but when he talks as Cass, he talks like this throughout the entire part of his dialogue. And I'm just like, oh, motherfucker, you put me to sleep. Like, in a good way. Like, read me bedtime stories. And the guy who voices Peter, yo. Oh my God, his voice is so hot. His voice is hot.